everyone. My name is Prashant Krishnamurthy. I go by PK. I'd like to welcome all of you to this webinar today on Agentic AI tips, teams, and best practices. A little bit about myself before I introduce my guest. My name is PK. I'm the Chief Growth Officer, a Senior Vice President here at qBotica, based in Atlanta, Georgia. And I've been with qBotica for about a year now. Prior to qBotica, I was with UiPath for nearly 5 years, leading the professional services practice. And prior to that, I was with a bunch of consulting and services companies like Deloitte, Ernst & Young, Cognizant, and so on. And with me today, I have a very special guest, Jack. Jack, would you mind introducing yourself, please?
Sure thing, PK. Thanks very much. My name is Jack Furr. I am a partner manager with UiPath, so I have the privilege of working with some of our tremendous partners like qBotica to help them deliver automation and now agentic solutions to our customers. I've been with UiPath for about a year now, based out of Denver, and very excited to be here talking with you today.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack, and welcome to our webinar. So I know you and I have both come from a UiPath background, and very excited about UiPath's upcoming launch of the Agentic AI platform. Tell us a little bit about it. What's part of the platform? What are some of the cool features? Can you kind of walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll do what I can. So, like you said, we have our launch coming up. GA for our agentic platform will be here in a couple of months. We're currently in public preview for what we call Agent Builder. And then shortly after that will be agent orchestration as well. And really, it's those two pieces that combine to create our agentic platform. We really see agentic as kind of the next evolution of our RPA journey. UiPath, if you know, is of course traditionally, historically, an RPA company, robotic process automation. We're the market leader in RPA, and we really see agentic as kind of the next evolution of robotic process automation. We see agents and robots working together to allow customers and enterprises to fully transform processes end to end across the entire enterprise. We see agents and robots working together, allowing companies to truly transform their operations. So we're very excited about agentic. And yeah, here in a couple months, we'll be live with the full agentic platform.
Awesome. We are excited and we cannot wait to see what the platform brings to the table. So let me ask you this. A few years ago, everyone was talking about RPA, right? Robotic process automation, workflow automation, task-based automation. And a couple of years back, it was all about GenAI, right? And now we're talking about agentic AI. So in your mind, what kind of caused that evolution from basic automation through to GenAI through agentic? More of customers asking for that kind of capabilities, or do you think the market itself kind of evolved through that life cycle? What are some of your thoughts?
Sure, it's an interesting question. Customers are definitely asking for this type of capability. And like I said, we kind of built our chops in RPA, and with kind of the AI revolution, a lot of people kind of assumed and even said that RPA is dead. RPA is going away. It's going to be completely taken over by what AI can do. But we see it a little bit differently. We see the two, like I said previously, working together in tandem, really kind of empowering each other. If you think about all the different steps within a full end-to-end process in an enterprise, there's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of different types of steps, different types of processes, or steps within the process, I should say. And some of those steps are going to be more suited for an agent, and some of them are going to be more suited for robots. And you almost kind of think of it as the agents being a little bit more of the brains of the operation, kind of the thinking decision makers, and then the robots are the action pieces, the arms that are going to go do the steps, do the pieces of the process, actually execute it and get it from one end to the other. So we see robots and agents working seamlessly together to truly empower end-to-end transformation of these processes. So that's kind of the evolution. The AI, it obviously can do a lot of stuff. It's very powerful, but when it comes to the actual execution, that's where we see agentic. We actually like to refer to it as agentic automation. Not just agentic AI, but when you take agentic AI and apply it to automating processes, we kind of coin it as agentic automation. So that's kind of how we see the evolution, and customers are very excited about this. Like I said, we're currently in public preview. We've been working with several, large companies in the private preview. They've been creating all sorts of different use cases, and they're pretty easy to develop, honestly. With our platform, you can use natural language to develop a lot of these processes. And so, they're not crazy complicated to develop. And so we see a lot of customers just coming up with use cases one after the other. And so customers are very excited about the potential for all this.
Excellent. That's been some of our observations too on the qBotica side is, we started the company way back in 2017, 2018, when RPA was kind of the big deal, right? And then as we evolve, we noticed that customers are asking for more efficiencies, more throughput, more accuracy, and so on. And RPA can only do so much, right? And the other problem with RPA is that you have to program everything in. So
right, it's very black and white. Yeah,
black and white, right? If then. So that logic had to be built in. And with GenAI, it solved some of those challenges, but you still had the challenge of having to train the model. Right. So extracting data from a document, you had to feed like 500 samples to be able to, get the model to increase the accuracy to 80% or 90%.
Yeah.
But with agentic automation, and I like the usage of the phrase agentic automation instead of agentic AI, because you're absolutely right. RPA is still out there, right? It's not the case that RPA is going to die. It is going to work very well with GenAI and agentic. And I think putting all these three things together is what brings the power of agentic AI and automation to our customers. So that's something I'm really looking forward to in the next couple of months when UiPath launches. In fact, qBotica is already working on a couple of pilots for our customers using UiPath's agentic platform. We're using a private preview for a large Fortune 500 company and for some of our other customers as well. So very, very excited.
Yeah. What kinds of things is qBotica doing to prepare, both yourselves internally and then, help get customers ready for the next steps in agentic AI, agentic automation?
Great question. Like you said, this is new technology, right? So not many of our employees were aware of the power of agentic and the features that UiPath brings to the agentic platform. So we've put together a very comprehensive training enablement program over the next 30 to 45 days, where we're training all of our employees on the UiPath agentic platform, right? And not just on the UiPath side, we're also telling them about, in general, what are the principles of agentic? How does agentic work with RPA? How does it work with GenAI? What are the things you should consider, and so on and so forth. So that way, they're not trained just from the technology side of it, but also from a well-rounded AI and agentic perspective. So that's the internal enablement that we're going through. Yeah. On the customer side, what we're saying is change management is a huge thing. Right? Technology, platform, software, all that is great, and it can bring a lot of change to customers. But being able to embrace that change and being able to change internally to be able to accept the new technology that's coming in, that is critical to success. Because at the end of the day, Jack, right? Any technology is only worth if there is ROI. There's real business impact. And one of the key metrics to business impact is how the employees embrace that technology themselves. So while we're implementing agentic for some of our customers using UiPath, we're also putting together a change management framework for our customers where we train them not just on the technical aspects, but on how to use some of those solutions. How does it play with the existing RPA UiPath bots that are out there that the customer is already using? What are some of the changes in roles and the responsibilities of some of those employees? So all of that is part of the change we're bringing in for our customers, not just the technology.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad you brought up change management. I think that's going to be huge. In fact, that was highlighted in a recent interview that Daniel Dinas, our UiPath CEO, did with Wall Street Journal. He kind of harkened back to the early days of RPA, and it was a similar story where people maybe were a little bit resistant at first, thinking robots, oh my gosh, that's scary. But of course, when they saw the efficiencies and how it impacted their day-to-day and the flow of these processes, obviously they came around. So I think it'll be similar with Agentic. And I also think it's a good time to bring in the human in the loop concept, which is a very important piece of the UiPath Agentic platform. Of course, humans are always going to need to be a part of the process. It is very unlikely, or there will be very, very few processes that are completely automated with Agentic and automation, completely 100% end-to-end. And that's a good thing, because we want them to be autonomous. We want them to be making decisions and learning on their own as well as they grow. But we don't want humans to be completely out of the loop. We still have a place, especially at those critical moments in the process, to create guardrails and points in the process where humans are still involved. Because at the end of the day, humans make mistakes, robots make mistakes, agents make mistakes. So it needs to be kind of a checks and balances, if you will, where humans are always going to be in the loop. Keeping an eye on those processes. Agents are going to ping humans. That's essentially what human in the loop is, where, an agent gets to a decision, it sees something where it doesn't know exactly what to do or something unexpected, and it shoots it out to the human in the loop to give input or take the next steps in the process. So that's just something I always want to bring up when we're talking about Agentic. It's similar. It was similar in RPA, but I just want to make sure that people understand that continues, that we're not completely handing these processes over, for agents and AI to just run wild. There will still be humans in the loop, especially at those critical points in the process. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of branch off of you bringing that up with change management. So you mentioned kind of already working with some customers. I'm just curious, do you have any specific use cases handy that you can mention, obviously without mentioning any customers at this point, but just the types of things that you're starting to see that we'll be able to do with Agentic?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. One of the use cases we're working on right now is for claims management for one of our customers, where they're getting multiple claims, right, from their end customers, claims coming in through emails, through text messages, through their chatbot on their website, and so on. And these claims could be for a variety of reasons, right? It could be, hey, a tree fell on my house, or I committed a road accident, I need my car fixed, or whatnot. And for various values, it could be a claim for $50,000, $100,000, $5,000, right? And if we were to build an RPA bot for processing all these different types of claims, I mean, that would be a humongous effort in terms of just design and development. But we're looking to put in a agentic framework in place where the design and the coding effort up front is very minimal. And to your point, that's the power of agentic, is you don't have to build all these things in the code.
Yeah.
The agents have the ability to act by themselves, make those decisions themselves, as long as we give them guardrails as to what kind of decisions they can or cannot make. Yeah. Right? So this is a use case which I'm very excited about personally, because this is going to save a ton of money for our customer and bring in huge ROI. So pretty excited about this. And I'm glad you brought about the earlier point around human in the loop, because if you look at one of the best practices in terms of implementing agentic, there are three things I always tell my customers. One is never take the human out of the equation, right? Meaning, obviously, agents can take decisions themselves, right? But at the same time, you need to have some kind of human touch, especially in high-value transactions like claims management, right? If somebody's putting up a $100,000 claim, you want to have at least one set of human eyes looking at these large value claims just to make sure that the agents are taking the right decision.
Yeah.
The second best practice I would say is testing, right?
Okay. Sure.
Agents take decisions, but we need to test it before releasing these agents in production to make sure every cent, every dollar is accounted for and there's no impact to the business operations, right? In fact, I think in the entire development lifecycle across design, development, and testing, agentic testing is going to be the bulk of the effort, right? Because the design development effort has been reduced significantly with the power of the UiPath platform. But then testing is something we will need to invest a lot of time and effort on. And again, you have Test Cloud, which UiPath is launching next month. So that's an added advantage. That's going to reduce the as well. But testing is definitely going to be a big focus area. And the third thing I would always recommend is making sure you do some sort of a pilot with Agentic before launching it full blown, right? Everyone's excited. Customers are excited. qBotica is excited. UiPath is excited. So taking small bites at a time, making sure you take baby steps, you crawl, run, you walk, and then run is very important to implementing a enterprise-wide agentic rollout. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. Does it make sense? What do you think?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. I think, like you said, POCs kind of that falls under kind of the umbrella of having a plan and defining clear objectives. We love the excitement that's out there in the market for the potential of agentic, but realistically, you can't just go out there and start throwing agents at processes and hoping for the best. You have to have a real plan, have clear, well-defined objectives, and a high-level vision for kind of your agentic journey, your agentic roadmap as a company as well. I think having that clear vision is going to be very important. I don't. That being said, I think there's multiple ways you could go about it. It's going to be different for every company, for every customer. Sometimes that might be, start with the smaller, kind of easier implementations, easier processes to plug agentic into and transform. Others maybe start big. You want to make sure you do it right, but maybe go after that big kind of behemoth of a process that is going to truly revolutionize might be a strong word, but truly transform your business and create a substantial ROI so that you can kind of point back to that as a huge win and say, okay, we've done that, now let's go tackle everything else. And if that's the way you're going to go about it, obviously I would highly recommend, you want to make sure you have the right team in place, both internally within your company, but also working with companies like qBotica that are going to help you, implement that, discover what is that right process to tackle first. And then of course, implement it and monitor and optimize it going forward.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So look, we are excited. It was worth the wait in terms of UiPath launching its agentic platform next month. I've seen a preview of it. It looks awesome. We're already implementing it for a couple of customers. qBotica has the team, the skills, and the experience to implement something as complex as agentic, make it very simple for our customers, working with partner managers like yourselves and with a vendor like UiPath. So with that, I would love to conclude this webinar. Jack, any last thoughts before we kind of wind up here?
No, I think we covered it pretty high level. Obviously, we didn't get into the speeds and feeds and all that. I'm definitely not your guy for that. So if that's the sort of thing that you're looking for after this, definitely reach out to PK and the team at qBotica. They've got an amazing team of folks that can, help you get into the weeds a little bit. And obviously we've got resources here at UiPath for that as well. So yeah, definitely reach out to us. We'd love to have a more in-depth conversation with you about all that. But no, I mean, that, we kind of covered it all high level. Leverage a skilled team, monitor and optimize. I think, working with qBotica and UiPath is going to be a great start to your agentic journey.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jack, for your time today. Thanks, everyone, for joining us on this webinar. Look forward to more such discussions. Thank you.